Okay guys, so the next one is 61. Solve the equation. So 61 we have w over w minus 1 equal 3 over w plus 1 plus 1. Okay, so we need to solve the equation. So I teach you guys how to solve this type of the equation. So you have to first factor the denominator, but since the denominators are prime, so we're just keeping them in w minus 1 and w plus 1. You cannot factor them. So if LCD, least common divisor of your denominator, is just the product of w minus 1 times w plus 1. And next what you're going to do, you're going to multiply both sides. Bless you, Daria. By LCD. So we have w minus 1 times w plus 1, and you multiply this by the left side of the equation, which is w over w minus 1, equal the LCD, which is w minus 1 times w plus 1. You multiply that by the right side of original equation, which is 3 over w plus 1 plus 1. Okay. And next what we're going to do, we're going to distribute. Okay, so don't forget that LCD you keep as a one expression. So you multiply the numerator by LCD. So that will be w minus 1 times w plus 1 times w over w minus 1 equal, and on the right side again keep that LCD as a one expression. So multiplying numerator by LCD. Okay, so here we will end up with 3 times. Let me just stop for a second. Let's resume. Okay, guys, let me just see. Yes, okay, going back. So we find the LCD, we multiply left and right side by LCD. Again, just be aware that you cannot solve this problem with cross multiplication, because cross multiplication you only use if you have fraction equal fraction. So everything will work if we won't have that plus 1. So that's why when you need to solve it like rational equation by getting LCD and multiply both sides by LCD. So now we have 3 times w minus 1 times w plus 1 over the denominator, which is w plus 1, plus, and then that LCD times 1, which will be just w minus 1 times w plus 1 times 1. And now you're going to simplify. If you did that correctly, you should not have a fraction. Okay, so a lot of stuff is going to cancel. W minus 1 will cancel. And we have on the left side only w times w plus 1. Now on the right side here, w plus 1 and w plus 1 will cancel. So we end up only with 3 times w minus 1. And here plus, and you have w minus 1 times w plus 1 times 1, which is just w minus 1 times w plus 1. When you don't have fractions anymore, next to be able to solve that, you just need to distribute. So I'm going to distribute w to both. So we have w times w, which is w squared, plus w times 1, which is w, equal 3 times w, which is 3w, 3 times negative 1, which is negative 3, plus, and here just FOIL, okay, multiply each by each. So w times w, it's w squared, w times 1, it's w times negative 1, it's negative w, and 1 times negative 1, it's negative 1. Organize, simplify, and move all and solve for w. So we have w squared plus w equal 3w, this w, positive w, negative w, opposite, so cancel. So we have 3w -3 minus 1 will give you -4 plus w squared. So nicely, because we have w squared on the left, w squared on the right side, they will cancel. Okay, so we end up here with w, it's equal 3w minus 4, and just solve for w. So I'm subtracting 3w from both sides, and that will give us -2w equal -4, and just divide each by -2, and that will give us w is equal to. So that's our solution, okay? And always be careful, I skipped that a little bit. Make sure that your solution makes sense. So keep eye on denominators and restricted values, because we did that in class during the lecture, that I always start those problems with restricted values. So here, restricted values will be w minus 1 equals 0, which means w equal 1, and w plus 1 equals 0, which means w equal -1. So 1 and -1 are restricted values. Technically, you take each denominator and make it equal 0. However, my solution, it's 2, so I don't need to worry. So this is definitely the solution. It makes sense, I will tell you guys, to find that restricted value if you will end up with two solutions, because then I would say in 50% one of them is restricted value. Okay, so that was rational equation 61. That was number 61, and I assigned 69. Solve the proportion. So 69, that's the last lecture which I posted. 69 problem, this is section 15.7. You're solving the proportion m plus 2 over 8 equal m plus 3. And I told you guys that when you have a proportion, which means fraction equal fraction, just solve it by cross multiply. So that's the easiest way. So we're going to multiply 3 times m plus 2, and of course always keep the expression in the parenthesis, equal to 8 times m. So when you cross multiply, you don't have a fraction anymore, and you just nicely solve linear equation. So here we distribute, that will give you 3m plus 6 equal 8m. Solve for m, so I will subtract 3m from both sides, and that will give me 6. It's equal 5m, and divide each by 5, and we're getting m, it's equal 6 over 5. So this is the solution. So proportions are very nice to solve it. That was 69, and the last one is 72. The last problem from review is 72. So 72. Hopefully you guys have a textbook in front of you. I'm not going to copy entire problem. I'm just going to read it. This is number 72 on page 952. So it's an application, okay, of a word problem of proportion. Bud goes 10 miles per hour faster on his motorcycle than Ed goes on his motorcycle. If Bud travels 105 miles in the same amount of time that Ed travels 90 miles, what are the rates of two bikers? Okay, so let me pause for a second. Resume. Okay, guys, so going back, I just quickly solve so I don't need to stop and bring my calculator. Okay, so this problem, okay, so we talking about distance, okay? So all the time when you have a distance rate time, that means you're going to apply distance formula, which is rate times time. So again, distance, it's equal rate times time. So I recommended that when you guys have those problems, you will do it the way I teach you, which is set up the table. So the first column will be distance. The second column will be rate. like you guys see, I'm using exactly what I have in the formula for distance, which is rate times time. And the last one, it's time. Okay. And we have two motorcycles, Bud and Ed. Okay. So what they saying? First of all, what are the rates of two bikers? So rates, you have the speed of biker 1 and biker 2, of Bud and Ed. Okay. So the first sentence that tells you that Bud goes 10 miles per hour faster. Okay, so he going 10 miles per hour faster on his motorcycle than Ed goes. Since we comparing Bud speed with Ed speed, so X will be the rate of Ed. Okay, so X again is I will put the speed. Okay, so the speed of Ed's bike, motorcycle. Okay, not bike, motorcycle, shortcut. So Bud goes 10 miles per hour faster, so that would be X plus 10. So always my variable is the person to who I compare to. Okay, so we have that. If Bud travels 105 miles, so he travels 105 miles, so that's a distance. In the same amount of time, what Ed travels, 90 miles, what are the rates of two bikers? Okay, so what you guys know, you're going to use that information, that time, but travel time is the same as at travel time. I don't know if motorcycle can call travel. Okay, those who are biker. Riding time, I guess. Okay, so you don't want to introduce extra verbal for time. So we did that in section 15.7. So let's just review. Note, you guys know that distance is the same as rate times time. So solve for t, okay? You want to solve it for t. So you will divide each side by r, and you're getting that distance over rate, it's equal time. Okay, so time is the same as distance over rate. So time of the first motorcycle, its distance, which is 105, over rate, over his speed, which is X plus 10. The time of the second motorcycle, its distance, which is 90, over the rate, which is X. What we know about those two times, that they are exactly the same. So our equation will be 105 over X plus 10 is equal to 90 over X. Okay, we're going to use the information that the time of both motorcycles are equal. Now, this is nice, guys, because we have proportions. So solve it using cross multiplication. Okay, multiply across. So we will end up with 105 times X is the same, which is equal, as 90 times, and again, if you see expression, always keep that in a parenthesis, X plus 10. And just solve for X. So we have 105X, it's equal 90X, we distribute 90 to both, plus 900. We'll subtract 90X from both sides, and that will give us 15X equal 900. Divide by 15, and we're getting that X is equal 60. So we're talking about speed, which means the units will be 60 miles per hour. So we have it. We know that at rate is 60 miles per hour. So that will be the answer. So the first motorcycle rate will be X plus 10, which will be 70 miles per hour. So that's the answer. Okay, I went over almost the same type of problem under section 15.7. So if you guys want to practice those type of problems, again, go back to recording from section 15.7. You're going to find very similar examples, plus your textbook also has it. Okay, that's it from the review. Good luck on the test. And again, we'll talk soon.